My father used to say that you don't know what a piece of furniture is worth by looking at the finish. You have to look at the joints. You have to see what's holding it together when the weight comes down. I've spent 30 years in this shop on 8th Street, surrounded by the smell of cedar, shellac, and the burnt coffee of a percolator older than my daughter. I am a certified estate and fine art appraiser. I'm the person the banks and probate courts call when someone dies and leaves behind a house full of things that might be junk, or might be a fortune. I can tell you if a signature is forged from across a room. I can tell you what a person is worth not in dollars but in character inside of 10 minutes. But for 24 years I committed the one attribution error I couldn't afford to make. I misappraised my own daughter Chloe. She stood on a pedestal in a $40,000 custom wedding dress, staring at herself in the mirror while I sat nearby in my work boots and denim jacket. "It's about the brand, Mom," she said. "Tyler's family is old money. They talk about foundations and legacies. If you show up smelling like sawdust and talking about margins, it breaks the spell." "Chloe," I said, "those margins paid for that dress." She turned sharply. "No, the Thorne Heritage Grant paid for this dress. You just provided the connection. But for the actual wedding, Tyler and I have decided it's best if you attend as a guest. But maybe skip the mother-daughter brunch. Tyler's mom, Diane, is hosting it. She just fits the aesthetic better." I sat there, feeling the cold settle behind my ribs. It was a feeling I recognized. The same feeling I get when a walk-in cooler fails on a Friday night and you know the next 6 hours are going to hurt. "And the aesthetic, Chloe," I said. "Does that include the person who raised you?" "Honestly, you're embarrassing, Mom," she said. "You're Home Depot in a European aristocracy world. We need this to look effortless. We need it to look like we belong." I stood up. I didn't cry. "I understand, Chloe," I said. "It's just business." My daughter thought she was an influencer. She had 47,000 followers and spent 20 minutes photographing her toast before it got cold. She met Tyler, a tech entrepreneur whose startup was actually just a $200,000 hole of debt. When they started planning their $250,000 wedding at the Belvedere Estate, a venue where entry alone started at $42,000, I did something I thought was generous. I knew Chloe was ashamed of my gritty lifestyle, so I set up a blind trust called the Thorne Heritage Group. On paper, it looked like a high-end corporate legacy grant. Chloe thought she'd won a luxury wedding package through her influencer connections. She thought she was being rewarded for her aesthetic. I met with Dale Petton at the bank, a man whose face I'd known for 30 years. "The final wires are scheduled, Evelyn," he said. "150,000 for the venue and catering, 40,000 for the dress, 60,000 for the imported orchids." "And the final release?" I asked. "It requires your signature or a digital release 8 days before the event," he said. "Your grandfather's instructions were very specific, Evelyn. He told me, Dale, when she walks in carrying that key, you tell her the truth." "Well, you're the one holding the key now. If you don't sign, the funds freeze, the contracts default, and the Thorne Heritage Group ceases to exist." I had been the family fixer since I was 17. My first paycheck went to groceries. My tax refund went to my mother's dental work. I trained my family to believe my wallet was a vending machine. Insert guilt, receive check. I had been keeping a list for years, not of Chloe's accomplishments, of her subtractions. The $12,000 I paid for a marketing degree she never used. The $1,800 car repair I covered, while she bought an iPad Pro and didn't mention the family sacrifice. The time I was in the hospital for 3 days after a health scare and she told the doctor she was too busy to visit, because it was Tyler's birthday. I filed it all in a navy blue binder in the bottom drawer of my desk. 8 days before the wedding, I sent Chloe one final text. No demands, just a question. "Are you sure you don't want me at the rehearsal dinner?" She replied, "Mom, don't make this a thing. We're building a brand. Just stay in your shop and work on your furniture. We'll do a private lunch after the honeymoon. Love you, a prop," a little red heart emoji she'd used for years. To clear the history of her neglect, I didn't scream, I didn't cry. I sat at my kitchen table looking at the navy blue binder. I realized that the most expensive thing you can buy is other people's comfort with your silence, and the night I stopped paying for it was the night I finally got rich. I picked up the phone and called Dale at the bank. "Dale," I said, "cancel the wires, all of them." There was silence for a beat. The venue, the dress, the florist, everything. I said, "If my aesthetic isn't good enough for the wedding, my money isn't aesthetic enough to pay for it." 7 days before the wedding, Chloe was at the Belvedere Estate with her bridesmaids, pointing a $10,000 ice sculpture when her phone rang. It was the venue manager. "MS, Thorne. We have a problem," he said. "The final wire from the Thorne Heritage Group has been flagged as withdrawn by beneficiary." "What? That's impossible," Chloe said. "It's a grant, it's automated." "I'm afraid not," he said. "Our contract states that if the final $150,000 isn't cleared by 5 p.m. today, the reservation is cancelled. We have a waiting list of 3 other couples for this Saturday." While Chloe was panicking at the Belvedere, I was in my shop sanding a piece of walnut with fine sandpaper. Sandpaper goes with the grain. People are the same. You can't force a person to be something they aren't, but you can certainly stop pretending they're something they used to be. Chloe's face went pale. She called Tyler. "Tyler," she said, "the sponsor pulled out. We need to cover the $150,000 now or we lose the date." I can't cover that, Chloe, he said. My consulting venture is currently being audited. I've leveraged my credit lines to the maximum to buy that Porsche for the photos. I thought the grant was covering the old money vibe. Call your parents, she screamed. My parents are in a 2-bedroom rental above a laundromat, he said. They've been living off the equity of their house that already defaulted. I was in my garden, tending to the roses my own mother planted, when Chloe's car screeched into the driveway. She and Tyler burst out like an invasion force. Mom, Chloe said, marching up to me. Did you do this? Did you call the bank? I didn't do anything, Chloe, I said without looking up from my pruning. I simply stopped performing. Tyler tried to use his height to intimidate me. Listen, you have no idea what you've started. The dress shop is threatening a lawsuit for breach of contract. The venue is gone. You've ruined our lives. I stood up and wiped my hands on my apron. I didn't ruin your lives, I just unmasked them. Your life was ruined the moment you decided a parent was disposable. Chloe started crying. How could you be so selfish? It's my one special day. We are a family. Families make decisions together. I walked to my porch and picked up the navy binder. Let's talk about family, Chloe, I said, and opened it to the first tab, the first year. Item 23. I read, the birthday card I sent you 3 years ago. You returned it to sender, but I see where the tape was cut. You looked at the photo of your own grandmother's funeral. Then you sealed it back up and sent it back because you were busy. Item 26. The group chat I found where you and Tyler discussed how to layer your requests for money to make it look like a family investment instead of a handout. Item 29. Your text from yesterday, telling me I was Home Depot and didn't fit the brand. How did you? I've spent 30 years spotting fraud, honey, I said. You thought I was a vending machine, but you forgot that I'm also the one who owns the shop. We'll sue you, Tyler said. That money was promised. I smiled. Promised by the Thorn Heritage Group, which, as of this morning, has been liquidated. The funds have been moved into an irrevocable trust for my own retirement. And there's one more thing. I handed Chloe a piece of paper. That's a 30-day notice to quit, I said. This house, it's held in a trust my father built in 1971. You've been living here rent-free for 2 years while telling your friends it was your estate. The law is very straightforward. You don't have a lease and you don't have a beneficiary interest. You have 30 days to find an aesthetic you can actually afford. Chloe was sobbing now. Mom, please, we'll put you in the... You can give the main speech, just sign the release. I stepped closer to her. I don't want a seat in the front row of a lie. I'd rather be in the back row of a life I built myself. To the A-list wedding I wasn't invited to. Thanks for the $250,000 refund. I think I'll use it to see the world. The wedding was postponed. Chloe posted about it online and called it unforeseen circumstances. She was escorted out of the dress shop by a security guard while her dress went back on the mannequin marked 60% off. She and Tyler moved into a small mold-scented room above a chiropractor's office in a town 30 miles south. Justice isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just the sound of a check, not being signed. I learned that blood means nothing. Shared DNA is merely a biological coincidence, not a guarantee of loyalty. True family is whoever shows up. Who answers the phone at midnight, who sits in the hospital waiting room when you're dying, not the person who checks your bank balance while you're in the ICU. Chloe took a job answering phones at a dentist's office. She doesn't post about old money anymore. Mostly she posts about the cost of mulch. I kept my promise to my father. I took care of the shop. I took care of the name, and in the end, the shop took care of me. If you feel like you're the embarrassing one because you work with your hands or you don't fit someone else's brand, remember this. A boundary doesn't have to be loud to be unbreakable. Peace doesn't come from revenge. It comes from standing on something solid and knowing you built your life on it. Sand with the grain, everyone. People are the same.